Alrighty, here we go, podcast. So, this is the Low Budget Judgment Podcast, episode 1. For this podcast, what we plan on doing is taking niche or lesser known movies and just talking about them. Hence, low budget judgment. And your two hosts your two hosts, period, are me, Spencer.
Today and every day.
And every day, Spencer.
And Sam.
Today's movie is Rubber. It's not about safe sex, which is what I initially thought.
Yeah, we were disappointed upon our first watch through.
Yeah. This movie, it's about a sentient car tire that just kind of goes around killing people, hence Rubber. Alright, let's talk about Rubber.
Yeah.
So, this movie was released in 2010. It got
in France, 2011 in America, I believe.
Yeah.
Welcome back to the Actually podcast, where I interrupt Spencer whenever he says a factoid.
It got had a whopping low budget of $500,000.
Actually, I saw 800,000 other places.
Samuel, I swear to fucking God.
Oh, no, wait, this is serious. So, I saw 500,000 some places. I saw 800,000 in other places, but I was never able to find something official. I say 500,000 because I think IMDb said 500,000, right?
Yeah, that's where I got this stuff.
So I think 500,000 seems like more, but Wikipedia says 800,000.
Okay.
And I'm not sure why it says that.
Right.
But I found 500,000 on a different website when I was poking around about this movie. So 500,000, give or take $300,000.
500,000 is lower, so
yeah,
it fits with the podcast.
Exactly.
There you go. And it got a nice score on Rotten Tomatoes of 69%. Nice.
Written and directed by a Frenchman, Quentin Dupieux. It's Dupieux.
Quentin French.
Yeah, Quentin, French name, and it's a satirical horror black comedy type movie, which is interesting because I think a lot of the films that we plan to look at here aren't intentionally
satire.
Yeah, so I think one thing on this podcast that we want to stray away from is using the word bad. That's too blanket a statement, and you can have a bad movie that is just incredibly entertaining. And I'm also not saying that it's exactly The Room, Tommy Wiseau. That movie is not a fantastic narrative put together with great shots and an amazing soundtrack, but it's entertaining.
Yeah. People keep coming back to it over and over, even though it's almost unanimously considered the worst movie of all time.
Exactly. And so we want to stray away on this podcast from simply calling a movie bad, because we think that it's more complicated than that.
That being said, I thought this movie was bad.
I did not. I liked this movie. This movie was fantastic.
All right, so I watched this movie twice. How many times did you watch this? Just the once?
I just watched it once.
Okay, I watched it twice. The first time, I was alone, and I found it difficult to sit through. But yeah, I watched it with you the second time, and it was easier to sit through that time. And I noticed some things that I missed before. I didn't care for it. I did not care for this movie that much. There was a couple scenes where I'm like, oh, that's really cool. I like what they did there. I thought that was interesting.
Right.
But those were few and far between. You had a much more positive look on this movie than I.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. And I know that I'm into stuff that... so, actually, my biggest criticism and what I was about to say might seem contradictory, but I thought that the movie was... I enjoyed the parts of the movie where it was very meta and self-aware of it being a movie, but...
Being a satirical horror film.
Right, being a satirical horror film. But then I also thought that if you had removed the meta quality, then it just would have been a weird film about a sentient tire with psionic abilities, which would have been a cool film, but I don't know, I would be interested to... I don't know, you remove so much of that film's
without the
body, without the meta parts.
Without the meta, it would have just been a shitty horror film. Shitty low budget.
But we have plans to watch several shitty horror films.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, but I did think it was really cool, and I really enjoyed it. I was cracking up As Spencer can attest to. The
There's a couple scenes
first
that made me
watch
crack.
through.
There's a couple scenes that made me crack up too.
And I think you and I
Being
are
funny.
generally, like, our sense of humor is sort of oscillates between sort of dark, sort of, I hesitate
Anti-humor.
to say edgy humor, but
Yeah, anti-humor.
anti-humor, yeah, there we
What
go.
you're looking for.
Things that are funny because they're not
Because they're
funny.
not funny.
And this movie, I think, hit a lot of that very well.
The first scene in particular made this movie for me.
Yeah.
That was the crowning jewel. Let's do a quick spoiler disclaimer. We're going to be talking about details in the movie from here on out. If you want to watch this film, Rubber, released in 2010, directed by Quentin Dupieux.
That is 100% not how you say that name.
If you don't want any spoilers, go watch it now on your own time and come back later. If you don't care, cool. Stick around.
And let me just real quick before you all leave, because I know you're all going to
Before
rush.
all 0 of our viewers
Yes,
leave.
before all 0 of our fan base leaves to go watch the movie.
Actually, it's not true. My mom is subscribed.
Is your mom subscribed?
My mom is subscribed.
Oh, cool. You know, my mom's slacking then. I got to get her to subscribe. But no, so just a little overview of the movie. It's a film which begins with a sheriff in California. It's set in, I think, the Southwest. I think I read somewhere California.
California desert, yeah.
Yeah.
Somewhere near Hollywood.
But Hollywood. Yeah, that's true, because at the end...
At the end, yeah.
Spoilers. But, we already gave our spoiler warning, so
Yeah.
it ends at the Hollywood sign, or
Yes.
like with that in view in the background.
It came back as a tricycle.
Yeah, ooh, you're straight up spoiling the end of the movie, just out there.
I said spoilers, man.
I know, and then I said before everyone goes watch it,
All right,
so
all right.
I'm sorry if we betrayed you, loyal viewers, for episode 1. But this movie about a sentient tire comes to life, and it starts rolling around, and you sort of see it develop a taste for destruction. And it discovers that it can sort of shake and make things just sort of pop and explode.
The first thing it does. Or
We can go through that because I wanted to go through that entire sequence and talk about it, but
okay.
I wanted to go through the movie a little bit. It develops a taste for destruction. It then finds this woman and kind of becomes obsessed with her.
And stalks her for most of the film.
Yes, so you are now listening to 2 people talk about a movie in which a tire is stalking a woman, and it kills several people.
That woman's name, by the way, they never say it in the movie, but IMDb says her name is Sheila.
Sheila?
Sheila.
All right. So he's stalking Sheila throughout the film, and then the police get involved, and then there's this entire, almost slightly unrelated part of the movie where there's an audience for the movie, just standing in the desert with binoculars.
Watching the movie. There's spectators off in the distance, but instead of watching it like in a movie theater, they're watching this from afar through binoculars.
Exactly. And they never move. So, like, the tire goes to different, like a town or like a hotel in the middle of nowhere, and these people just, like, turn a few degrees, like they're standing atop a hill and everything is happening beneath them in a valley.
Right.
But it's an interesting way that they set it up. And then throughout the film, the sheriff who introduced the film to the audience in the beginning,
The sheriff's name, by the way, is Chad.
Sheriff Chad,
He's Deputy Chad.
Deputy Chad ends up trying to poison the audience.
And succeeds.
Succeeds.
That wasn't him. That was the guy that worked for him.
Right, but he orders that guy around.
Yeah.
There was a go-between, sort of an intermediary who...
His name
His
in the movie is the accountant.
All right, the accountant.
I'm not even kidding. That's what IMDb said. His name's the accountant, played by Jack Plotnick.
And wow, you really know this. They had some fantastic names for, like, the guy that you liked. There's a man called, whose name is, Man in Wheelchair?
His character in the movie is a man in wheelchair, and his real name is Wings Hauser. And that's just a fucking great name. So yeah, I guess let's start from the beginning. This opening scene made me laugh because it starts with just a shot of the desert, right? And down this long dirt road, there's maybe 20 chairs scattered across this road, right? And then you see a car pull up, slowly coming down this road, winding back and forth, hitting every single one of these chairs. And I don't know why that scene made me, like, almost cry laughing the first time I saw it.
Really?
This car went out of its way hitting all these chairs. And these chairs, they were cheap ass chairs. They like disintegrated.
I noticed that.
But,
As soon as they'd hit them, they would just fall apart.
I mean, obviously they were prop chairs, but
right.
Anyway, so it hits all 20 of these chairs, and then the car pulls up, and Deputy Chad, played by Steven Spinella, pops out of the trunk of his car,
I was wondering if you were gonna
holding a glass of water.
Wait, is he holding a glass of water, or is it given to him by the guy who's driving?
I think the driver hands him. Anyway, he gets
something
out,
like that.
He gets out. He's standing, facing the camera, talking to the camera, holding a glass of water, and he goes on this big rant of, "Oh, why does this happen in this movie? No reason. Why does this happen in this movie? No reason." And life is full of this no reason, and just gives a bunch of examples about real life.
Which have reasons, by the way. There are reasons to everything that he said.
Yes,
but it's not. But he ends the little spiel with, "This movie is, what do you say, an homage to no reason?"
Yeah, it's all about no reason. So that sets up the precedent for the
movie not having to make any sense.
And that kind of, I didn't like that, because it told you how to feel about the film before it started. You got to figure out how
too meta.
It was too meta.
Too meta.
It's this is how you're supposed to feel about this. This is how you're supposed to think about this. No, let me figure it out for myself. And if I don't, and you outsmarted me, good for you. The movie's better than I am. But
this movie is
movie's better than me. But no, it gave me the answer right at the beginning.
Welcome back to the self-loathing podcast.
Yes.
But no, I can understand that. I thought that the opening was an interesting way to open the movie, because there's I can't tell you one film that opens like that.
Right.
That has anything close to that. So when I watched it, I was immediately, even aside from the whole chair sequence, which went on for long enough to make it funny, then not funny, then funny again, because of how long it went on.
It was like 2 solid minutes of chairs.
I'm sure it wasn't that long, but it was very much a...
Oh, another thing after this. After he went on his big spiel, it turns to the accountant holding 20 pairs of binoculars, and then next to him is a group of people that Officer Chad had been talking to.
Yeah. Well, you think, but...
Well...
Yeah, we will get to that later. But no, so then they hand out the binoculars to the people and say, "The movie's begun." Officer Chad gets back into the trunk, and the car drives away. And then the accountant...
he dumps out the glass of water.
Okay.
Hands the glass back to the driver, and then gets in the trunk.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. And so then the accountant hands out the binoculars, says the movie's starting, and then there's maybe 15 spectators, look off into the distance. And among these spectators, they don't matter. Most of them don't really matter. There's a father and a son, and the dad's kind of a dick.
And there are those 2 college-age girls.
Yeah, there's 2 college girls, almost valley girls, that are bitching about everything, and then there's 2 nerdy guys who are movie buffs.
Yeah, I forgot.
Movie buffs who are critiquing everything.
Oh God, is that us?
Yes.
No, please. Yeah, no.
And then there's a guy in a wheelchair who didn't talk much, but he's important later.
But he is important. Yeah, I was to say he's the one that we should comment on if we're going to introduce any of them.
He didn't do anything there yet, though.
But yeah, so the movie begins then, and it sort of, the movie that the people are watching begins.
So there's 2 movies. There's the objective movie that we are watching, and then there's the movie that is the tire going on this killing spree.
And the line between those, if there is one, is blurred the closer you get to the end.
Yes.
So, and we can come back to that. But I wanted to talk for a little bit about this first sequence of the movie of the tire. I thought that was fantastic.
I liked it. I did like
the
it.
way that they, or just in general, this movie, the way that they conveyed the emotion of the tire was fantastic.
Baffling to me.
Yeah, because I could feel what this tire was
makes
feeling.
you sympathize for a fucking chunk of rubber.
A homicidal tire.
Yes.
I was rooting the entire time for the tire and loving it the entire time.
How does it start? It starts with this tire is half buried in sand in this California desert, and then he kind of shakes and stands up, stands upright, and then he starts rolling around.
If you want to see what it looks like, just go watch the movie.
Go watch the movie.
It's hard to describe exactly the physics of this, because it's so impossibly strange.
Yeah.
So just go watch the movie if you want to see it.
Neat.
If nothing else, watch it for the amazing landscapes of the Southwest. There were some beautiful shots.
Yeah, there were. Anyway, and so it starts rolling around, comes across a bottle, a plastic bottle, runs it over easily, and then it keeps rolling, comes across a glass bottle, which it's glass, so it can't run it over as easy. It bumps into it a few times, and then he's like stumped. He gets pissed.
Yeah, the tire can't figure out, like, and this entire sequence is the tire slowly gaining a
taste for blood.
Yeah, a taste for blood, a desire to destroy.
Sorry. So anyway, out of frustration of not being able to destroy this bottle, it just starts shaking violently, and then suddenly this bottle explodes.
And then, is that, right after that, the music starts playing, right?
I think so.
And I loved that sequence because it was just that you could feel the tire, you're gonna laugh at me, but you could feel the tire losing its innocence.
Right.
Like, which sounds weird to say,
Robert.
but no, you could feel the tire lose its innocence as it destroys these bottles, and then it feels glee. It just gleefully rolls away from this bottle that it's just
and
like
then,
the way the tire kills things is through this sort of psychokinetic power where you'll hear this noise like a staticky high noise in the back of your head, and then it'll
like your ears are ringing.
Yeah, like your ears are ringing, and then the tire will shake and vibrate a little bit, and then whatever it's targeting will just sort of explode, right?
Yeah.
And for
does it to the bottle, and then it goes and finds a rabbit pretty soon.
Yeah, then it finds a rabbit and it kills the rabbit.
Then a bird or two.
Yeah.
And then
a crow, right?
I think a crow.
Yeah, on the side of the road.
Crow, a metaphor for murder.
Is it really?
Yeah, or death. The crows and ravens.
I don't think that was that thought
symbols
out.
for death. Probably not, but metaphors.
I think it's just a carrion bird in the Southwest. But anyway, the tire ends up making its way
to a road.
Or first it sleeps for the night. The tire goes under like a little tree, like this bush thing, and sleeps for the night. And as that happens, the people,
the spectators
also sleep
in the middle of the desert.
Yeah, just in sleeping bags.
In sleeping bags.
And I mean, I'm all for a good camping session, but that's just weird.
Right.
They have no food. Anyway, the next morning they wake up and they follow the tire again. The tire makes his way to the road, and he's using his psionic abilities on this woman, Sheila.
Her car. He stops her car.
He stops her car. And one thing I really liked is in the morning, there's this music that's playing. Yeah, he being the tire, okay. Robert, who you don't find out his name is Robert till the credits at the end, but I'm not going to call him Robert.
The tire's name is Robert.
But no, so this tire is moving along, and you have this music in the background that's very happy and upbeat, and then as you pan to the woman in the car, it becomes the music in her car. I forget what I think that was it, because then it stopped.
I didn't notice that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. What is that thing? I'm gonna have to remember all my like movie theory type stuff, but it's like diegetic sound or whatever it is, like the transition from sound that people in the movie can hear to sound that only the audience can hear.
Right.
There was a really cool transition right there, and I forget exactly what the terms are. But no, I really thought that was cool, the way that they worked that in.
Uh-huh.
And anyway, he stops her car, and then as the tire is sitting in the middle of the road, stopping her car, a truck comes up behind him.
Hits him. He goes flying down the road.
And the tire just goes flying down the road.
And then he loses his psychic grip on the car, and the car can restart, and then Sheila drives away.
Mm-hmm.
Safe. So yeah, Sheila drives away, goes to a gas station. Same gas station that the guy in the truck went to. And so the tire starts falling down. Once the tire gets there, I think Sheila drives off, but that the guy in the truck is still there. I feel like he says something to the tire. He's like, "What are you looking at?" or something stupid like that.
I don't think so.
Did he not say anything? Maybe he didn't.
I mean, you've seen it twice as much as I have, but yes. I don't. Yeah.
But anyway, maybe he didn't say anything. Maybe he just looked at it.
I think he might have looked at it kind of a puzzled way, like there's a tire there, but I don't remember him saying anything.
Okay, maybe he didn't say anything.
I'll eat my words if I'm wrong, but I don't know.
The tire, Robert, claims his first human victim in this asshole truck driver.
Yes.
Which I love the gore in this movie, by the way. I feel like the $500,000 budget, at least 2/3 of that would have had to been on these fucking exploding heads.
You think?
Because those things are expensive.
Really?
Yeah.
No, there were a lot of sequences where...
And there was a lot of those exploding heads in this movie. So,
anyway, having killed this truck driver, he
Yeah.
goes and tracks down Sheila. And,
to this motel.
and I'm sorry, but there are certain things... I have this pet peeve, and I know that we were talking about this while we were watching it, but Sheila takes a shower, but leaves the front
Door...
her hotel door open like a crack. And my response to that is, like, I can suspend my disbelief that a tire came to life because I have to enjoy the movie.
Right.
But it pulls me out when there's something stupid like somebody leaving the hotel door open on their room.
Just a crack.
Yeah, just like a little bit. Just enough for a tire to peek in and watch her get into the shower.
Right.
It was just strange. But anyway, the tire ends up going into another room and watching TV.
Yeah.
The tire has some interesting choices. And he can change the channel on the TV using his powers. So, like,
Why
throughout
not?
the film, he watches everything from, like, what did he watch? Like a dance competition this one time?
Yeah.
He watches F1 later?
Which is, yeah, NASCAR.
Yeah.
Eventually, after he watches TV for a little bit, the tire goes to take a shower.
I'd forgotten about that.
Yeah, the tire goes to take a shower, and then the cleaning lady, I think her name was Martina, comes up, sees the door is cracked. She's going to clean this room. So she goes into this room, hears the shower running, and doesn't immediately leave.
Yeah, there were a couple places where, like, it was clear that they needed something to happen.
It was plot. It was like, cleaning ladies don't do that. Anyone doesn't do that. If you hear the shower running, you don't walk in and look in the fucking shower.
That's true. Yeah. You in here? I don't know.
Anyone
in? But no, she ends up looking in the shower, grabs the tire. There's this sequence where it's only funny because you know the tire is alive.
Yeah.
Where she picks up the tire and goes like, says something like, fucking weirdos. Like,
Yeah.
about whoever would leave a tire in the shower and leave the shower running. But she
throws
him out.
Outside the motel room, but leaves the door open.
Yeah.
And so she starts cleaning up this room. The tire goes back in and subsequently kills her.
Which ends up bringing the police to the scene.
Yeah, so police are aware of this tire now.
Yes, and it ends up being the same damn sheriff as before.
Yep.
Now,
Deputy Chad.
Deputy Chad.
Before that, though, it cuts to the spectators again.
Yeah, I was gonna say we missed the spectators.
The night before this, or I think it was that night. I think it was the night before all this happened. It was still at the motel. The accountant was staying there, and he got a phone call, which you later learned was from Officer Chad. Something about like, oh, take care of them tonight or tomorrow morning or something. And then after that, it cuts to the next morning with the spectators.
It doesn't though. There's a little bit of a scene. He hangs up the phone and says, "I'll do it tonight" or something like that. And then the camera pans down, and there's a live turkey in his hotel room just standing there. I can't believe you forgot that.
I forgot that. I didn't put that connection there. There's a live turkey in his hotel room. And then anyway, it cuts to the spectators the next morning.
Right. Who have had no food for like 2 days.
2 or 3 days, yeah.
And they've been complaining
Or water,
about it.
yeah.
Right.
And so, yeah, they are all, waking up in the middle of the desert. The accountant comes out with a now cooked turkey.
Like you would buy from Safeway.
Yeah. Classic Thanksgiving turkey. Whole turkey. Throws it down in the sand in front of all these spectators, and all of them, except for the guy in the wheelchair,
right.
All of them just dive in and start devouring this turkey.
And there's the
off of the ground like nothing,
just like
it's nothing,
crowding around them, pulling it apart.
Yeah, like
eating with their hands.
Walking Dead zombies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing that really got me about that scene is then later, they all start to feel ill, right? And then they all die except for the wheelchair guy
because he didn't need it.
Yeah. But it's like it's portrayed as he knew it because he goes right when they're ripping it apart. He goes, "Animals."
Yeah.
And then later he says to them, "It was poisoned," something like that. Like he knew that it was poison. That there was some way for him to be like, "Oh yeah, they're poisoning us."
That was like a metaphor for, oh, American consumers. You can make any...
Oh, stop. You're trying to make this more than it is.
Am I?
Yes! This is a French
film.
film.
Okay, I blame the movie.
This is a French-English language film.
I blame the movie because at the beginning it told me how to feel about it, and now I want to feel the opposite about it. It told me that there's no reason for anything, and that just compels me to find reasons for everything. Because I'm a contrarian at heart. You know that.
Yeah,
I am a
that's
contrarian.
Fair. That's fair.
Anyway, it's like, they just devour this turkey. Oh, people will make any film, and, people will just love it because, movie. That's all I have to say on that. Continue.
Yeah, I'm going to think about that one for a little bit. But no, so then...
So the police or let's talk about the owner of the motel.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's there. He's just a dick to his son.
Yeah, his son is like 15, something like that.
Like 14, 15, yeah. And the son sees the tire roll itself into the hotel room.
Yeah, he sees the tire roll into the hotel room and then kill Martina.
Yeah, and then he tries to tell his dad. His dad's like, "You're making this up. Go get me a pizza with double toppings."
Yeah.
Which I've never heard anyone ever say double toppings before.
Really?
I've never heard anyone say that.
I've heard like double cheese, but
double cheese, double toppings.
That's true. You could say like double pepperoni, double cheese, something like that. But like double toppings.
And so anyway, this kid rides his bike. Goes, gets the pizza, and then when he's riding back, there's like a guy walking down the street, and the kid rides past him on his bike, and the guy just stands out there with his thumb out like he's trying to hitchhike on the bike.
Yeah, it was a really nonsensical scene. It was really funny.
Then when the kid goes by, he's like, "Dude, what the fuck? Like, why didn't you pick me up? It's a fucking bike."
Yeah, it's not like a tandem bicycle where he's looking for a hitch.
And then this kid finds one of the birds that Robert killed earlier.
Yeah, the tire.
And put the viscera of this bird on the pizza and said, "There's your double toppings."
He put a bit of the dead bird on the pizza and then served it to his dad. Do we ever see him eating the pizza?
No.
The
pizza just leaves the movie at that point. You never see it again.
Yeah, I was saying.
Well, because when he gets back, all the cops are there.
That's true. Because then when the kid gets back to the hotel, the cops have found Martina, and they're investigating. And then in the middle of it, Deputy Chad goes, "Wait, guys, they're all dead," because the accountant comes up and says, or then he looks at his watch. That's what it is.
He's like, "Oh, well, it's been 6 hours. They're all dead because all the spectators have died at that point." And
because he knows it's a movie.
Yeah. And so he goes up to all the other cops and he's like, "Everyone, you can stop this. You can all go home now."
And they're all looking at him like you would if somebody came up to you while you're doing your job and said, "You can stop now. It's the movie's over."
Yeah.
And anyway, the way he proves this to him is
first he pulls off his patch, his like police.
Yeah, he can pull off his police patch like on his shoulder, and then like show it to them, and then just stick it back on. Which is it's a small thing, but it's funny.
It was kind of funny. Yeah.
And then he has one of these other deputies. He orders him to
shoot him in the chest,
and the deputy shoots him twice, and he gets like these bloody bullet hole like ripped shirt in his in
those
his
movie
torso.
effects things,
right? Like as movies do.
What are those called? They have names.
I don't know.
All right.
They end up. Then the accountant runs back and says, "Oh wait, one of them survived."
Why didn't eat the turkey?
Which means that the man in the wheelchair is still watching this all play out.
Yeah.
So then Deputy Chad's like, "Never mind, ignore everything I just said," and they all go back to doing their jobs.
And then he goes to interview the owner of this hotel.
Still with a bloody shirt because he's been shot twice.
3 bullet holes in his chest.
Yeah. So
he's like, "Officer, are you all right? You got something?" He's like, I'm fine. Well, how is your relationship with the housekeeper?" And
during this, by the way, there's this whole thing where the tire was in the pool.
Yeah, he like rolled himself into the pool.
Yeah, because Sheila was in the pool for a bit.
Yeah.
So then, what ends up happening is
So the kid runs up to the cop interviewing his dad. He's like, "It was the tire in the pool right there. He killed him." And then the dad is like, "Shut up, boy. Get that tire out of the pool." And then this kid takes off his shoes, but not his socks.
Yeah, he's fully clothed.
Fully clothed. He only takes off his shoes, leaves his socks on, and then retrieves this tire from the pool.
Yeah, just like walks into the pool. It's a strange film. So then the tire is sitting there, and as the dad and the cop are talking, the tire explodes the dad's head.
Yeah.
Then the cop pulls out a piece of paper and like reads his lines like, "Oh God,
Oh God, the tire is the killer."
the kid was right. The tire is the killer," and then like walks off screen.
So disappointed in his life at this point.
Yeah.
He just hates
So then-
his job.
So then, the accountant goes back and tries to offer the man in the wheelchair food.
Yeah.
And he's offering him like all these different food items that are like look really nice that have inexplicably gotten out to the desert, like on a white paper cloth. And then
and
when he can't get him to eat them, he starts to eat them and probably dies later.
Before that though, the man in the wheelchair says, "No, I don't want to eat them. I want to see how it ends." And then the accountant goes, "You can't. There is no ending."
it just goes on.
And he's like, "Well, I don't care. I'm gonna keep watching anyway." And then yeah, the accountant tells him a story about how he murdered his brother as a child.
Oh yeah, I forgot about
Literally
that.
confesses to murder while eating a poisoned eclair. So then the accountant.
Speaking of which, you want one of these eclairs?
Hell yeah, man. The accountant starts complaining of a stomach ache. I don't know why he was surprised. He brought the food out there to kill him, but whatever. Starts complaining about stomach ache, has a very dramatic death, and then the guy in the wheelchair, still looking through his binoculars the entire time, just kind of glances at him and is like, "Oh well."
Yeah,
and then
just
keeps
like
watching.
Wings Hauser, our favorite actor.
I love him.
Yeah.
Okay, and then it cuts. At this point, Sheila had just left the crime scene.
Right.
She had just gotten in her car and driven away. This is the last time we see her for a little bit. For a while, until it matters. And then the tire himself rolls away, and then he finds himself in like an alley or something. And then the kid, the son of the hotel owner,
Oh yeah, I
finds him, right? Starts talking to the tire. He's like, "So you are alive, huh? Well, can you talk? Why are you doing this? Answer me!" And I don't know why the tire didn't just kill the kid at that point. But anyway, he just...
Maybe it was like the recognition that he was alive.
Maybe.
Like, we're trying to bring meaning. Why did this happen? No reason.
No reason. So anyway, the tire rolls off. Until that. But after that, it cuts to the police officers. And, and Deputy Chad, having just recently realized that the tire is a murderer, is trying to explain to his other officers what they're looking for. So he removes the tire from his car.
So, yeah, the camera comes there right as he's finally removed the tire from his own car. And then he's like, "This is what we're looking for." As if they didn't know like, what a tire looked like.
And then everyone's like, "What brand is it?" It's like, I don't fucking know. It's a tire. It's like, is it black? It's a tire!
Oh, no, that was a funny scene.
That was a funny scene.
So anyway, then it cuts, and the tire is going on a killing spree.
Before that though, he just went rolling down the street, down the road some more, and he sees some like billows of smoke a little bit in the distance. He goes, inspects them, and there's just a huge fire, and the only fuel for this fire is a bunch of tires.
Yeah, it's just like these four guys burning thousands of tires.
Because
and he looks at it. There's a scene where it's like he's in the background behind a fence watching this massacre of his people, and it's so funny because it's so stupid. It is, but it's. Oh my goodness! It was brilliant. I loved that scene. Yeah. I was cackling. That was so funny.
And
so
then, before the murder spree, he goes down the street again, and then there's a cop car chasing him, and so the tire's rolling down the street. Cop car pulls up, stops near him, and then the tire turns around, which that made me laugh. It's like
we
there is one side of the tire that has eyes.
Yeah, the tire is like it doesn't see. The tire has no features. Like, it's hard for you people to, I think, to picture it. It was hard for me to picture it until I saw the movie.
Yeah.
And was like, oh. So it's just aware. Like, it's just a tire. There's nothing, it has no arms, no legs, no eyes, no ears, no mouth, it has no apparatus.
But it turned around.
Because
one side of it could see better than the other.
Evidently.
So yeah, and then it blows up one of these cops' head. He didn't kill the other one. He only killed one, and then the partner of the cop just kind of sat there watching.
Yeah, no, it was a strange scene.
Whatever. And then tire rolls forward, goes down the road. Then it cuts screen to black. It says 3 days later.
3 days later.
3 days.
It's not screen to black. It's a new screen
Or new
because it's
scene.
in the corner. Because I remember thinking the placement of where they put 3 days later on the screen was strange.
Oh yeah, maybe you're right. And so yeah, it's 3 days later, and it's just a quick visual montage.
Exploded heads.
Yeah, all the bodies that
It's like 8-10 people that he's killed.
Yeah, like just bodies in the aisles of supermarkets.
Yes, that was the funniest one. It was like they had group deaths and everything, but it was even funnier when it was just like a lady in a supermarket, which implies that tire rolled into that supermarket and waited for her, or followed her in there, which is so funny. Right. I thought that entire the implication of this movie I think is almost as funny as what they actually show.
Right. And then it cuts to the tire clearing out a house. Right? Yeah, he kills all the people living in this house and just starts watching TV.
He's watching Formula One, right?
Yeah, Formula One or NASCAR, some like car racing.
Yeah.
And then the cops figure out he's there. They get Sheila. And so they have this master plan to kill the tire. They set out a dummy that looks just like Sheila, who the tire had been following.
Right.
For most of the movie. Set it out in front of the door, put some explosives on its back, right? And then set up a microphone there. Speakers. And then they have a van very obviously parked like 30 feet away.
Yeah, it's in the middle of the desert. You're not going to hide a van.
Right.
It's like, what is it, like gray or black or something?
It was black.
Like, it's very obvious.
In the middle of the desert. Anyway. And inside this van is Officer Chad, Sheila, and like 2 other cops.
Yeah. This scene. So Sheila starts to like entice the tire to come outside.
And kill her.
And
kill the dummy.
Because if the tire blows up the dummy, then the explosives will ignite and blow up the tire. That's their plan.
Right.
But it's so stupid. So she ends up saying like, "Oh no, I can't do this" or something like that.
What she was saying was so dumb. It's like, "Come out here, you rubber shit."
Yeah, he was like, the cop was like antagonize him. "Come out here, you rubber shit." That was killing me. Eventually she says, "Oh, I can't do this anymore."
And then Chad takes over. Doesn't change his voice at all. Just starts talking in a man voice. It's like,
"Come here, you rubber shit.
I am a dirty little girl. Come blow my head off." and then they're like, "It's not working." He's pulling back. It's like, "It needs to be a woman's voice. Come back." And pulls her back. And then she starts going, "Come blow my head off. Come here, you rubber shit." Like the same thing over and over. And then you hear a knock on the van door, and it's fucking the guy in the wheelchair.
Yeah, who's now entered the movie. And he says, he says, "This doesn't make any sense." And like the rest of the film has made a shred of sense.
And it's like, what's the point here? It's like, well, we got explosives out there. We're trying to blow them up. It's like, why not just get like a bazooka or get one of your guys with a flamethrower to just go take care of this? It's like, well, because we got the explosives and the dummy up there. Like, this is gonna work. It's like, okay, well, why not just set him up? It's like, because the tire has to blow himself up.
So anyway, they're unsuccessful with the dummy, and Chad, the deputy, just grabs a shotgun, walks into the house. You hear several gunshots, and then he comes out, and he's blown this tire to bits.
Just as rubber shreds now.
And then he drops it in front of the guy on the wheelchair.
Like, there's your fucking tire.
And then says, "It's over now," or something like that, or "There's your fucking tire," and then walks away.
And then
then the
guy in the wheelchair starts yelling, "Hey, you can't leave it at that! Come on, what kind of ending is that?" Blah blah blah. Like he's pissed. And then you see a tricycle roll out of the house.
He says something like, "It's not over," or something like that.
Oh, did he?
I thought he said something like that.
Guy in the wheelchair?
I thought so.
Did he? Maybe he did.
Maybe we need to watch these movies more, loyal fan base.
At least twice. Loyal fan base? We didn't know this movie existed a month ago.
Whatever.
At that point, yeah, Chad throws the rubber scraps at the man in the wheelchair, and then a tricycle rolls out of the house, and then the man in the wheelchair just yells back to the officer, "Wait, it's not done yet! He's been reincarnated as a tricycle!" And then the tricycle turns to the man in the wheelchair, and then wheelchair guy just goes, "Oh no! I'm not part of the movie. I'm just a spectator. You wait right there. He'll be right back. You wait right there." And then the tricycle, does the thing. It looks at him, starts shaking. Wheelchair guy explodes.
Right.
Best character in the movie, dead. Also,
rest in peace.
Also, might I add, all the other kills that Robert had, it was just their head explode. It was a small explosion. But this guy, man in the wheelchair, his wheelchair was gone.
Yeah.
His entire body was gone. My theory, Robert was just one tire. Tricycles have 3. He's 3 times as powerful. It makes sense. Except it doesn't, but that's also the point.
Okay.
Yeah.
No reason.
No reason.
So anyway, then the last minute or two of the movie is the tricycle rolling down the road. Other tires.
Gathering tire followers.
Who just awaken as he rolls past.
Yeah.
And eventually they roll into Hollywood, and there's the Hollywood sign in the background.
And then it cuts to the front of the tricycle with dozens of tires following him.
Just like this little army of tires. And then the camera just looks towards the ground, and it's the end.
It's the end. That was rubber.
That was rubber. And so, we've talked for a very long time. But,
7 minutes.
What didn't you like about the movie?
What didn't I like about it?
Because I like it a lot more than you do.
I know. To be honest, with any kind of anything I do or watch, I always enjoy talking about it more than I actually enjoy watching it.
Right.
So, I've enjoyed this conversation so much more than I've enjoyed that movie. I don't know why.
I hate this conversation.
Oh, yeah?
Screw you. No.
I guess I'm picky when it comes to stuff like this.
Right.
Movies or anything. If I'm gonna like it, it's really gotta grab me. It's really gotta get my attention. And it just didn't. There was a couple of scenes where, it made me laugh, and I thought it was funny. I just genuinely found it hard to sit through.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I can understand that, I guess. But I really enjoyed it. I thought that it was entertaining, and the fact that it grasped the nonsensical and sort of when pushed into that, I thought was cool. I thought that the way that the meta...
The self-aware, I did like that.
And out of the movie, I liked it, but again, I felt like it was strange to watch. I don't know any other movie like that.
Right.
Which made it cool, which made it unique.
Well, yeah, the thing about being meta and self-aware like that is if you're going to do it, you got to nail it, or else it's just bad.
Right.
Not even good bad, just bad. And I think he did a pretty good job of doing the whole meta self-aware thing.
And they didn't even break the fourth wall.
Yeah.
There was that one scene in the car when those 2 cops are chasing the tire. That it looks like the one cop looks right into the camera, he does. But then you realize that you were looking from the perspective of his partner who was next to him.
He was just looking at his partner. There's no fourth wall breaks.
Which I could very easily have seen happening in this movie.
Several fourth wall breaks. Well, yeah, even at the beginning, you think that his whole spiel of the no reason thing, you think that's a fourth wall break, but then you realize, oh, he's just talking to the audience.
Yeah. And which is during the credits, then there's a scene where it's...
I was going to say that could be a subtle fourth wall break.
Right. Because at the end of the movie...
Because, he's talking to the audience in the movie, he's also talking to the audience in real life. Give this movie a watch.
Yeah.
I'm probably not going to watch it ever again.
I'm definitely going to watch it again.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
You like it?
If anybody needs, a weird, funny movie that's kind of meta...
Yeah. If you like the idea, that's what drew me to this movie in the first place, because all the headlines or all the descriptions online are just sentient car tire goes on massacre, and that's only 1/3 correct.
Yeah, it's correct, but it's not. It doesn't.
It's not the main point of the movie.
If you came to that movie thinking that was all about, luckily I had actually done a little research on the movie before I watched it, and I knew that it was weirdness.
Yeah.
I would.
So it's definitely worth one watch. At least one watch. Give it a chance.
Worth a watch, and I would say if you like sort of anti-humor type stuff, not so much dark jokes or anything like that, but I mean legitimate anti-humor is these aren't jokes, but for some reason they're funny because they're not jokes. Mm-hmm. Watch the movie. The movie leans into that. I think that's cool.
Mm-hmm. So Sam, how would you rate this movie?
I'm gonna give it a solid 6 gold stars.
6 gold stars? Yeah. I gotta say, this movie definitely deserves at least 1.5 thumbs up.
1.5 thumbs up?
1.5 thumbs up. So yeah, that was first episode of the Low Budget Judgment podcast. This episode should be airing on October 16th.
But it might be late.
It may be late. I don't know. I've never video or audio edited before.
I have, but I'm making him do it.
Yeah, I'm doing it. I volunteered. What are you talking about?
No, but I was just like,
Yeah, so
playing a character.
October 16th, hopefully. Check out our next episode on October 30th for, what movie was it again?
Jason X.
Oh, yes.
Halloween.
Yes, okay, so join us again October 30th for our Halloween episode. We will be talking about the 10th Friday the 13th movie, Jason X. All right. Stay frosty out there.
Peace.
Peace.